Hey, everybody. I am Tex. I just wanted to say thank you again. If you're tuning in, if it's the first time here, as I always say, never know exactly what's going to come out of my mouth. I don't pre plan a lot of these things. I just sort of figure out what I'm going to say not too long before I do. Sometimes I pick things that happen to me during the day or during the week, conversations I had with people. Today, I would like to talk about receiving. And the reason why it was brought up was an incident, which I'll tell you about. I want to start off by reading something for you. If you've never read Khalil Gibran, uh, his story, The Prophet, is just unbelievable in my book. It's one of my top picks. It's right up there with Four Agreements and a couple other books that I usually go to. I believe that philosophy and that kind of thinking should go along with therapy because therapy is not just techniques and plans and treatment plans, but it's also a lot to do with what's going on, what you're thinking about, and how you're dealing with life beyond just but actually getting to know and understand yourself and then the people around you. So in the prophet, he has one particular part. Then it's about someone come in and ask him to talk about giving, and I want to read this full part. You often say, I would give, but only to the deserving. The trees in your orchard say not so, nor the flocks in your pasture. They give that they may live, for to withhold is to perish. And surely he who is worthy to receive his days and his nights is worthy of all else from you. And he who has deserved to drink from the oceans of life deserves to fill his cup from your little stream. And what desert greater shall there be than that which lies in the courage and the confidence, nay, the charity of receiving? And who are you that men should rend their bosom and unveil their pride, that you may see their worth naked and their pride unabashed? See first that you deserve to be a giver and the instrument of giving. For in truth it is life that gives unto life, while you, who deem yourself a giver, are but a witness. And you receivers, and you are all receivers. Assume no weight of gratitude, lest you lay a yoke upon yourself and upon him who gives. Rather, rise with the giver on his gifts as on wings. For to be overmindful of your debt is to doubt his generosity, and who has the free hearted earth for mother and God for father. So now, I'm not real religious. I never lie one way or another about that when I tell people straight up. The guy who wrote this stuff, from what I understand, though, he mixes Buddhist, Sufi, and Christian um, stuff in his writing. So I'd say it's pretty good for everybody. The idea, though, is in this, he's talking about giving and whether or not giving should be something that you do stingily or that you only do it so people see you doing it. There's a lot of talk about being a good giver. Today, I want to talk about being a good receiver. And the reason why I want to do that is because it links into other stuff that I have learned over the years. And one is the idea that the receivers are more important than the givers. And a lot of people have a hard time with that. If being generous is a good thing, how can you be generous unless you have someone who needs what you're giving? In other words, you try to give people stuff, and the only way you have an opportunity to do this is by finding someone who can receive what you have to offer. And to me, they are even more important than the people who do the giving. We do a lot of praising for givers, we do a lot of things to try to get people to give and to give to others to be charitable. But if you didn't have someone to accept your charity, you couldn't be charitable. So if you get anything out of giving to others or being charitable to others, you have to have these people. So never for a minute look down on those people that are poor or unable to get by that need help or assistance. With that being said, if you are in an opportunity to receive, what I was taught, what I was given over the years by several people who I consider pretty wise in talking about this, was the idea that it's not a good thing to turn down somebody else's offer to help or assistance, unless you have a good reason. Now, I admit everybody has different ideas of what a good reason is. In this, though, I mean, like sometimes receiving help from somebody might include you incurring a debt that you can't pay back. Sometimes people, that they will offer with the specific of intentions of, you owing them or, getting some leverage over you, which is possible and it happens. And there are people like that. But generally, more, a lot of times people offer to help or give assistance and people don't want it. And sometimes it's strictly a matter of pride. And we all know the problem with too much pride. Sometimes it has to do with feeling uncomfortable with someone else helping them. And then that's when you need to take some time to get some insight. Why is it you don't want someone to help you? And how do you feel about that? Because if you listen to what I just said, being a receiver is actually better than being the giver. So you make it possible for other people to have a chance to be charitable and helpful. I bring this up because this weekend I had a particular instance where somebody was in a bad way. They had a problem with their car, and they were going to have to call a tow truck anyway, and a lot of the stuff was going on. And their son offered to come and move the car for them. He had a trailer, he had the means, he had the way. He just had to drive a little ways to get there. And the person was very upset and kept trying to find ways not to let their son help them. And I did listen for a while, and I kind of got myself pulled into the drama triangle, which is another talk I'll give about the drama triangle. But basically, uh, I was close enough to the person that I felt I could at least speak up and say something about it. And my point is allow your son to help you, because there will come a time when your son will wish they had done more for you. And to deny them this opportunity to help you is basically to deny them the opportunity to be a better person. How can you turn down someone when it gives them an opportunity to be greater than what they are? In other words, if we look up to people who are kind, charitable, compassionate, and then we won't allow people to be kind, caring, compassionate, generous to us, that just doesn't seem right. You're not giving that person an opportunity to do what they can to become a better person. Again, I understand if you have some worries that you're going to owe somebody, but that's where you have to get some insight into yourself. Why do you feel that way? And why do you think that? Now, if that person has a history of doing that to you, understood. I can see you turning down their help. If that's not the case, then why do you feel that way? And think about it. What is it you're doing? Especially if you're the kind of person who wants to help others and you insist on helping other people, whether they like it or not sometimes, and then turning around and turning down their offers for help. You're putting people in a position where they literally have to beg you to help, which doesn't sound, like a wise way to handle things. So the idea is to think about it. Now, on the other end of it, it talks about giving, and I like that because the idea is when you give to other people, who are you to judge who deserves and who doesn't? I mean, I'm not saying go out and be crazy and throw all your money away in the streets and just, willy nilly. But before you judge the people who are asking for help so hard, sit down and think about it. There's usually a lot of the story you don't know. There's things that aren't like clear, and people aren't supposed to jump up and tell you, "Oh, well, I have to explain to you that I have this health problem, I have this addiction, I have this mental health issue. I've run on hard times and bad luck. Things have happened." And yeah, even if it's their fault, do they really deserve to have to be humiliated just to get your help? So there's a symbiotic relationship here. You can't have givers without receivers or receivers without giving. It's a dialectical type of situation where you have opposites that come together to make a whole. It's the yin yang thing. However, you want to look at it, it's the idea that in order for you to be kind to somebody, there has to be someone who can receive the kindness. And for the person who's out there who needs kindness, by receiving the kindness, you give an opportunity to someone who might not otherwise have it to be kind to you. So, again, with a little thought and reflection on yourself, when you want to turn down a gift, ask yourself why you're turning it down. When someone wants to help you, why are you refusing it? And is it because of a good sound reason in your mind that you can think of? Or does it have more to do with feeling humiliated if you ask for help? Or does it have to do with just your general attitude about people who help and what are they up to? The same way when it comes to people who give. When you give, giving comes from the heart, giving of yourself and of your time. And that's what you want to do. Helping other people by actually doing something with them. Yes, it's great if you can give some money to someone who's hungry. If you can help feed a hungry person, that's outstanding. But taking a moment to hear their story, to listen to them, and to make them feel like they are connected to someone, to give them a chance to be human and have a human connection is so important. So, on both sides of that, both people, both the givers and the receivers, have to take a minute and realize that they need each other. And by doing that, then they also can be blessed by having each other. And you look at it as being fortunate enough to be in a situation where you're able to help somebody, that you're able to do something for somebody. And for those of you who are receiving, taking a minute to realize that you are part of the great cosmic events going on, that by being there to receive someone's help, you're allowing them to work on them being a better person. Okay. So that's about it for today. I hope y'all had a great Sunday, and I look forward to talking to y'all again. Thank you.